The sound of, well, correction, awoken to the sounds of screaming souls. What time is it? 3:29 a.m. One hell of an hour. It awoken me out of my sleep. It was a non-stop, constant scream, screeching, that I had to record it. I only got the last bit of it before I realized that I heard sirens. But before that, it was just constantly. And that to tell you exactly what it was, tell you what awoke in me, that sound like souls screaming. Were beings, physical beings, but they weren't just physical beings, they were demons in these bodies, behind these wheels, driving these machines. Speeding so fast that it was screeching. It sounded like souls screaming. I could see souls. I could hear screaming. I wasn't scared, but it was deep. It gave me a vision. It put me in some sort of trance where now I'm seeing what I need to see, I suppose, because it awoke in me. Before I could even really record it, it was so non-stop. My understanding was that these cars were speeding so fast, going in circles in the streets. They were right in front of my complex. They were going beyond 100. And so it kept sounding like screeching sounds. Like it just sounded like souls screaming. So that was the trance that I'm hearing this. It awoke in me. Yes, I step outside because I just can't believe it. I couldn't believe that beings, physical beings, what are in them that's making them do this. I felt like I was sympathizing almost with them. These souls. Not even the souls that were screaming. The souls that was being possessed to risk their lives. It made me sad. It made me sad standing there listening to it. So I stood there. And after the first 10 minutes of it nonstop, I said, I have to record this. I want people to at least hear this. Hear the sound of souls screaming. And that's the thing. I was hearing souls scream, the ones that were behind the wheel, and just the sound of it, sound of a machine, a car going beyond 100 miles an hour. That as I was standing out there, the tires, burning tires, before I even stepped out there, I was smelling something through my window. And I said, that smells like burning tires. Obviously, this was the 10 minutes before I recorded, 10 minutes before I actually stepped outside. So that 10 minutes was them circling around right in front of my complex. Just circling around, skirt, skirt, skirt. Like it's just constantly. The souls screaming, just constantly. It was so loud that all you heard was tires burning, tires screeching. So when I eventually did step outside to just really just be in amazement of like, this is really what's going on at 3 a.m. in the morning? And then I think about it, I'm like, what was yesterday? What's today? What is going on? And then I believe that since whoever these souls were behind these machines, behind these cars, driving over 100 miles an hour, and this is not a highway, this is just a regular street, constantly. So they would probably go around the block and then keep coming around, but you could hear that they're speeding over 100 miles. Like it could have been 180 miles. I don't know, but that's how fast and that's how loud and that's how screeching the tires were. On top of them, every time they turned, and such speed. I felt so sad for them because it reminded me, or at least it took me in a place where their souls are possessed, their souls are risking everything. They don't have, it's like that entity inside of them wants to do away with them because they're risking everything. At any moment, I was waiting, honestly. I was like, no way. No way, like they're gonna crash. They might hit someone. Are they trying to? Are they trying to end their life? That's what I felt. I didn't feel scared. I didn't feel worried. I felt sad. That why are these souls doing this to themselves? You know? I know this is a hard life. I can only imagine how hard it is for people. I can only imagine what someone has gone through and is going through. I can only imagine how many snares are out there and you can fall in. And then to just be filled with vengeance or anger and spite. For a second, I thought I heard it in the background. After 15 minutes of the screeching and the sounds of souls, them circling around and speeding so quick, I did see in the far, far distance, because there's trees, that blocks the road. I can't really see the road from my, and it's dark, so I can't see the road from my door, but I can still see the lights. So the cars light. So after like 15 minutes, 20 minutes, because I gotta include the 10 minutes when I was in the house, I seen a blue light. I noticed that had to be a police car, but it wasn't chasing them. It was just coming on the scene, almost like someone called them. And those sort of entities, they'll go free because sometimes it's just like, you just hope they learn their lesson, because you're putting your life in danger, especially police officers, to be on a highway or just be racing among or after possessed entities behind machines that have taken and are risking everyone's life. Because you think about it and say, if I go after this person, and they're not trying to stop. Usually, if it's going to endanger the public, they're not going to chase them. If there's too much traffic around and multiple people are speeding over 100 miles an hour, the police are not going to chase after them. They're going to let them go and hopefully find them. I awoken to the sound of souls screaming. In actuality, it was tires screeching, because that's how constant they were circling around, that the tires started burning and I'm not even near the street, that it was just in the air. It came straight into my room. I said, is this the smell of burning tire? I had to record it, the last of it, because I knew they'd come back, because the last 10 minutes they were just constantly like circling around, I guess, in front of my complex, that street. And then after that, they ended up going down somewhere, and then maybe after 2 minutes or 3 minutes or 5 minutes, they come back. So it was like they kept coming back around, but for the first 10 minutes, they were just right there. That's what awoken me. Skr, skr, like it just was screeching. And that's what made the tire start, the burning tire start coming into the air, because they were right there. And again, all I really, in the trance of it, because it started making me think, how sad. How sad. I thought of like the cemetery. I thought of death. I thought of souls. I heard it. I heard souls screaming. Skrrr, skrrr. And I hate to do it because my voice is raspy too, so it's like skrrr, 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 skrrr. Like it just kept going. You know that sound. Especially if you're a person that, I don't know, watches car races and stuff, or people do donuts and all that. Like the scream, the screeching. I felt sad. I don't want to hear that sound. That's an unpleasant sound. That's a scary sound. I felt so sad in the moment, right? Just being in the moment of it, standing and listening to this. I had to open my door and like hear it. Like, is this really what's going on? Are these entities in these bodies really doing this right now? Are they risking their lives? Are they risking other people's lives? Because I can only imagine the people on the streets, because as I'm hearing these screeching souls screaming, as I'm hearing these cars go over 100 miles an hour on a street, circling back again and again and again, like it's a race or something, and I start smelling burning tire. It put me in a trance where now I'm thinking of hell, burning souls in hell, because I'm smelling burning and I'm hearing screaming. It's all coming from the tires, it's all coming from the engine. All of it. Scare, scare, scare. All of it. It was traumatizing. It was terrorizing. It would woke your babies up. Oh my God. Bless the baby's heart. Especially if you got weak windows. Got weak doors. Sound just come through because it's so many spaces. You would have thought if you have a door and it's shut, there's no spaces. You have a window and it's shut, there should be no spaces where, but no. The window might as well have been open. The door might as well have been cracked open. You would have thought the door was cracked open. That's how loud it was. You would have thought, close the window. No, the window's closed, man. Terrorizing. So yes, it awoken me. I was asleep. And now we gotta be here. Now I gotta talk about this. Because I started to see a terrorizing scene. I felt terrorized for souls. I felt the terror. Think about it. That person behind the wheel is not just a person, it's a spirit. What's wrong with this spirit? You hear about car crashes every day. I said, does this person want to die? Does this person want to die? People don't want to hear it. Yeah, but it's true. People want to be all tough and all this, but they don't want to hear the truth. You could have ended someone's life that was already on the road. There were cars on the road. I could see their lights. So that meant I'm sure they were slowing down, they were stopping their car, almost like they had the right of way, because they were speeding so quickly. You'd have no choice. Like, whoa. You start seeing cars come straight at you 100 miles an hour. You hearing it. It sounds like screaming souls. What the hell you gonna do? I'm probably just gonna jump out the car. You hear the screeching sounds, terrorizing sounds, in back of you, coming straight at you. What the hell are you supposed to do? I'm turning left. I'm not even gonna go in the direction I'm going. I'm gonna get out the way. Because they're not wanting to stop. They're not wanting to slow down. They don't care at this moment. They're in this trance, just like it brought me into their trance. Like, it was like I was in the front passenger seat. Saying, stop, slow down. What is possessing you? You could have ended my life. You could have ended someone's life. You could end your life. Do you know that? They don't see that. They don't care. So you feel sympathized in a way where it's like, what's wrong? What's happening? What are you going through? What happened to you? can't see it from the surface. This person's dressed up, looking nice. They probably went out, had a good time. Who knows? This person's now under the influence, maybe sober. I don't know. Because you can't see. You can't see. It's just, what are you doing? You're going over 100 miles an hour on a regular street. I can only imagine how fast you were going on the highway, wherever you were going, or where you were coming from. But you're not stopping. It's been over 15 minutes and you're still skeeting. The tires are still burning. You're going over 100 miles an hour. For what? There's cars on the road. You're going through street lights. You're going through red lights. Why? Why? Are you terrorized? You're terrorizing everyone. People are like me. I'm awakened. And now I'm in the car with you. Right? This is a trance. I'm telling the person through the trance that you awoken me out of my sleep with this terrorizing sound. What is the matter? And see, the thing is that as I'm in this trance and the trance is like, now I'm in the front seat of the passenger seat. He can't hear me. Or a woman. It might have been a woman too. That's the crazy thing. Women do what men do now. In that way. That's something that's not, I don't agree with that one. I agree with men can do what women do and women can do. But there's certain things that you just don't expect women to do. I didn't expect a woman to be behind that wheel, sounding like that, with those tires burning, doing donuts. You don't expect to see a woman doing that. But hey, it doesn't discriminate. I'm just saying that it made me kind of put myself there in the front seat because I felt so sad, and I was thinking about, I was hearing souls scream, and it put me into that car, and I'm trying to look at the person like, what's wrong? And of course they can't hear me because this is a trance, and that's what I'm saying, that you're in hell of a world where there is souls that, gnashing of teeth, and they burn here. But you may not see it, and that's the sort of thing, the veil, that this could be a sense of hell. There's already death here. I hate to scare people, but I'm not trying to. It's just the truth. I want you to see beyond the veil. And I try and try to interpret it in so many different ways to make people see and understand. But here's another way. Here's another interpretation. These entities, these bodies, the host, I just see the fragment of the person, but inside they're entities. They're spirits. Demons, as we call them. They are reckless. They are here to destroy. When you see people behind wheels and they're speeding beyond 100 miles per hour on the highways or on the streets, and they're doing this race thing, they're risking their lives, they're risking people's lives. They don't care. Like they're just in this trance. What has possessed them to do it? Entities. These spiritual demons. And that's seen through the veil. That to you, you see them and, oh, that's my friend, and oh, you guys look nice, and you guys smell good, and where y'all going, and everything looks normal. But then it's the fruits that expose them. I'm not calling everyone that so-called speeds demons. Come on. You know what I mean. if it awakens me from my sleep, I was asleep. And yes, my window is open. It's been open the whole night. It rained last night. And my God, it was open because I needed fresh air. I opened because it should be open. So I was awakened by this, the sound of souls screaming. The screeching of tires, burning tires, because people are speeding constantly. A whole 20 minutes of non-stop screeching and engines rumbling, and it, it was horrifying to hear, because all I kept seeing was souls screaming and burning. They were burning. The souls were burning. And I started to smell it. I started to smell the burning of the tires. It was horrible. I started to see the demons that were sitting in the front seat behind the wheel, focused on just ahead. They didn't care what was in front of them. They didn't care if the lights were red. They went straight through it. They didn't care. These demonic entities that are possessing these bodies. Oh, I honestly, I felt bad for them. I didn't feel angry. I just felt bad. Because these are the same people that end up in the hospital with no leg. Gotta get blood. I hear it. I don't know if it's one of the cars, but now I'm just traumatized. I'm traumatized. But if they don't end their host's life, they're in the hospital, they're bedbound, they're crippled, they're disabled, they're just in a horrible state. It's a horrible scene to walk on, especially if you're in the justice field, to find out, what happened, how this happened. And then they report back to you, well, they were going over 100 miles an hour. And then you hear, well, they were racing, or they were just speeding over 20 minutes. They could have stopped 5 minutes ago, but they kept coming back around and speeding down the street, around the block, around and around and around, almost like in this never-ending loop. And after 30 minutes of it, scratch, something happened. It just take a blink of an eye for the car to lose control, for the entity to just end you. Because that's what I seen in the trance of hearing and seeing the souls burn and the souls cry through the sound of a speeding car and burning tires and engine rumbling. It was a horrible, and it is a horrible thing to the ears. I never liked a car. I never liked machines. I don't. If I wasn't limited where the sun wouldn't burn my skin, I'd walk. I would just walk. I would do everything that I could to not go behind a machine. I don't condone them. Oh, do they make your life better because it helps you go to places a bit faster? Yeah, but that's it. These machines, these cars, they're dangerous. You can use it for the better. It's a dangerous thing. And not only that, but hey, there are entities that go behind these things, Go behind a killing machine already. It's a killing machine. They use it for that reason. Because now they're crashing. They're speeding and they're waiting. They're the sneers. They are the roaring lions. Because they own the streets, don't they? They own the roads. When they're coming through over 100 miles an hour, this was beyond 100 miles an hour. But when they're speeding, what do you have to do? You have to move out the way. Like, they're the new chiefs. They're going faster than the police. Firefighters and ambulance, and they're all moving out the way for these entities behind these killing machines. Just terrifying and just sad. That I get it. Maybe I don't all the way get it because I'm not living in like that sort of hell that a person is going through. I don't know all of it, but I can try to understand that there are snares out here that people can literally fall in against your will. You know, no one signs up to get sick per se, unless you want to get sick. So you say, cough on me. Listen, that's what I mean. You're in a place where people are willing to get sick. I don't like willfully spit in my mouth. What? You're disgusting. Spit? We couldn't just kiss. We couldn't just no. So that's what I mean. It's just like you're in a place where these entities are crazy. They don't care. You ever seen someone possessed? You ever seen someone that is manic, like they just out of their mind? You ever worked in behavioral health? The mental institutes. You ever been a security guard, a police officer? You ever been that? You ever worked in the ED? You ever worked in emergency? Have you ever just been in the world around these souls, these people? They're unhinged. Right? And someone's like, we need to get them off the streets. Yeah. Because they're the ones just pushing people unprovoked, punching people in the face. You find out someone just got pushed on the train tracks because a entity was just being evil. There was just someone that was walking the belt line and was stabbed and died. Unprovoked. That could be me. That could be you. That could be your daughter. That's like you're trying to be productive and you're trying to get your cardio in, right? So you go early where there's no one even on the belt line. You go like 9 a.m. You're feeling good. You might even have your ear plugs in. Who knows? Which is not the best, but we all do it. We're listening to our music. It feels nice. And you see a stranger and you're like, hello, you know, and they come up to you and they butcher you. But then all on the news, you want to hear, oh, this person had mental health issues. We don't want to hear that crap. We don't want to hear that. It ain't right. So that is why we got to bring light to this. This is the world that we're living in. But you want to call this a milk and honey land, or at least you want to act like it. You can't barcade yourself. And that's why the rich and famous, you find that they try to move in a place far away from people. Even though they depend on you to pay their bills and keep them famous, they don't even live near you. They try to find the most place that seems tranquil. They try to find the most places that may seem quiet and peaceful, just far away from darkness, from what they think, us, far away from this poverty and low class and community. They go to a place that is like a desert. They say, "Oh, this is the perfect place to build my house." It's a desert though. It's in the middle of nowhere. But again, my point is, this is why when some certain people get a whole lot of money, they'll try to get the highest floor. They'll try to live on the highest floor. You find that this person lives in the penthouse. Yeah. Because they don't want to be among these demons, these souls, these lost souls. Shoot, they could be a lost soul themselves, but hey, demons don't like anybody. They don't even like themselves. So, excuse me. So don't think that person that has all this money or lives out there by themselves ain't a demon, because they sure enough can. The only people that have harmony is the good people. You can't trust demons, and demons can't trust themselves. So don't always, just be wise, okay? Don't be fooled. Yeah, when I talk like this, it will scare someone, because I'm trying to uncover what you need to see, uncover the flesh and the bone, uncover why this person is risking their lives, because they're possessed. So something has taken over. You can say, "Oh, this person is filled with rage and they're going through something." Okay, but they risk everyone's lives by speeding over 100, though. That you're dismissing everything else. I understand people are going through things, but we need to understand what's going on. They're possessed. But all you want to hear is, "Oh, this person is filled with anger and rage and vengeance." They're possessed. They're risking their lives right now. But all you want to hear is, "Oh, they have mental issues." They're possessed. You don't want to say that until they actually murder someone or they murder themselves. Okay. All right. We'll go by the book. This is what it means to be among. If the Bible says you're among them, who is them? The scripture says you're among them. And you're thinking like, "Father, what do you mean?" You'll see. You will see. Whoa. And I say WOE. Whoa. Woe to you. Woe to the earth. Woe to the innocents. And then you see everything when I say that, because it's against you. It's against you. It's going to weigh on your soul, because you're bound here. You are bound here. You can't leave. You cannot leave. And unlike, some people that in their life, we ain't doing that. We here until we don't have to be. We stay strong until the end. But god dang, this is what we're among. Demons. You know them to be killers, murderers, pedophiles, rapists, molesters. You hear it in that way. No, 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 no. That's only to not make it so spiritual. So that's how the world understands. No, we are going to break down this wall and expose it for what it is. These are not molesters, predators, pedophile, rapists. These are demons. Sounds about right? Yeah, this is a rapist, demon. This is a pedophile, demon. This is a stone cold killer, demon. They got all these different worldly names for them. This is serial killer, demon. Do you understand that? Do you get it through your freaking skull? Is it seeping through the flesh? Ain't no medication you're gonna give this demon. You need to throw them in the dungeon. Dungeon. They're done with. But when you make it like, when you try to sugarcoat it and say, oh, they have mental issues, and this is a killer, a demon. No, they just have a chemical imbalance. We can give them something for it. I said throw them in the dungeon. But no, instead they're allowed to go free, and then they do it again and again and again and again. And how about this? Do you know that there's cold cases that have not been solved? That there is this serial killer, and there's only a serial killer because you find out decades, centuries later, that he was behind 15 murders back in the day. And then when you finally catch this demon, he's 88 years old. Who gives a damn? So what? He's just 88 in the flesh. This demon is still in him. But you don't find that out until it's done. Because you let them free. Because you figured, oh, this person just needs medication. Please. You find out, when they caught the demon over 40 years later, you found out, well, they actually did have to go to court for one of the suspected victims that was actually not suspected. He was the killer. That all he had to do was do community service, slap on the wrist. You don't know a person. You don't know what is behind the veil. You don't know what's behind the flesh. Please be cautious. Be wary, especially in 2026. Because that's the year we're in. If you didn't know, I'm saying, like, up until this moment, we've been covered. Some of us have. Some of us not so much. Where it's like, you've been unfortunate. Excuse me. You've been unfortunate. But we want to keep it that way. We want to continue being covered, right? Because we're continuing. We're still living. We still have a lot of life to live. We still want to do things. Go out there. We're going to have to be around people, work around them. We still need the covering. Every day when we do our jobs, we still need the covering. Because there's cycles. There's cycles. There's demons out there. People don't really focus on this unless you're watching Long Crime. This is the hard talk. Especially to your children. How do you gotta tell your children this? You're gonna wait till the schools tell them? You're gonna wait for the schools for it to be what? I don't know, health education or something where they show them a video of a car crash? You're gonna wait for that? Do your freaking job. People don't want to focus on this until it happens to them, and then they want to cry and weep and gnashing of teeth. And he gonna be like, worker of iniquity, I never knew you. Because when it was time to get to know you, when it was time to speak, you didn't care because it didn't happen to you. It was irrelevant. You know, you took it like, oh, well, I'm healthy, so I don't need to talk about sickness. I don't want that around me. But what about the people that actually talk about it to help prevent it? You think that they're speaking about it to call it and attract it in their lives? You think that that's bad juju to speak about the real truth? You must not have no faith. Because we're doing it for a good cause. Why would the universe give us sickness when we're just trying to help prevent it? That it, to us, it's like our job to educate everyone. But you won't speak about it. You're scared of speaking about it. You're scared to speak about it because you feel like it's bad juju. You feel like it ain't your job. As a person, whether you have an actual credential to show that you can speak about it, you just feel like, listen, you're healthy, you're this, you're that, so I don't want to talk about anything that's negative because I don't want that negativity around me. Okay, well, when you knock on my Father's door, don't be surprised when he says, I never knew you. Because when I was in the world, you could have educated me, right? You could have helped me, you could have fed me. You didn't do it. You said it was bad juju. You didn't want anything negative around you. You said, oh, they're poor. That's negativity. I don't want them around me. Don't touch me. That was you. So don't be surprised if you knock on my Father's door and he says, I'm going to leave you out there with the dogs, with the gnashing of teeth. The same things that you were running from and chose not to educate the world with. Now you're one of them. Now you are among them. You have no choice. So I'm sure I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if you can't close your mouth now because you have no choice but to gnash your teeth. Oh my God, Father, I'm among dogs. Oh my God, Father, I'm among demons. Yeah, well, I mean, I was telling you that, but you thought I was negative when I was telling the world what it is. I was doing the same thing, but I actually willfully chose to educate the world about gnashing of teeth and there being demons among me. You, on the other hand, it ain't sincere. You're only talking about it. You're only gnashing your teeth because you were sent there. You were thrown there because that's where you deserve to be. But now you're going to talk about it because you have no choice but to be there. You have no choice. That's exactly where you deserve. That's exactly punishment that's waiting for you. So yes, you want to prevent all of this. Well, you have to talk about it. You don't want it to touch your family. You don't want it to touch your head. Well, you need to educate yourself about this. Because this could be your daughter one day. This could be you. This could be your fate. You could be unlucky and unfortunate among demons. That I don't want to talk about it. I just rather turn a TV on, turn a movie on, shut my door to it. You're a fool. You're a fool and you're a coward. Maybe in the physical you're respected, but in this physical, we see you and you're the weakest. But they're the ones in these places that have the most respect. They carry on and walk with their neck stretched out. Yeah, they're the ones on the surface that you see think all got all the power and is so positive. Hell no. In the spirit, they are wretched, they are weak, and they're low, and they're cowardly. Because when it's time to actually be tough, they're not. When it's time to speak up about the truth, they're quiet. But on the surface, they got all these rewards because of like what they portray. Please. And I'll leave it there.